Hello. Welcome to another episode of KennieJD. Records a video at 9 p.m. the night before. Also, my hair is green. Remember I told you guys a few videos ago I didn't like that dark blonde on me? It is not the right color. Well, it looks close to the right color on camera, but in person it's still too light. I want it to be dark, mossy green. But on camera it is giving. It is giving quite nicely, if I do say so myself. Hello, by the way. Kendall here. New around here, welcome. Not new around here, what is up, home skillet biscuit? Happy Saturday. If you don't know what Saturday is, it's when we do a little something on my channel called Bad Movies and a Beat. The series on my channel where I talk about bad movies while putting my makeup on. I will say, as per usual, when I filmed the night before and Russet is home, she is not at all entertained. So she's gonna be in here and complain the entire time. Motherhood, what can I say? Also, if you were thinking about getting a dog, I would implore you, maybe think a little longer because one, nobody warns you about puppy blues. We're not there anymore. She's one at this point, but I will tell you, I know 3 people who have gotten a puppy in the last year. We were all horribly depressed. One quit her job. I say all this to say, consider it a little longer for your benefit as well as the benefit of the puppy. With that said, she's 1, so we're past the very young puppy stage. So now she's just doing weird, gross shit. I couldn't find her this morning. She was under my bed chewing on my dirty underwear, which is unfortunately only the 2nd most disgusting thing she's ever done. Third, yeah. 4th. But anyway, let's send it over to Admiral Kennie because it's also very expensive being a mother. Hello everyone, this is Admiral Kennie and today's video is sponsored by Raycon. Raycon has made a name for themselves as a premium audio brand that is constantly innovating and bringing you new quality products. I, for one, have the most experience with their everyday earbuds, which are a crowd favorite, as you guys know, here on the interwebs with tens of thousands of 5-star reviews. I keep them right next to my bed so that I have them when I'm winding down and listening to podcasts or listening to audiobooks or music. But they have other products like the everyday headphones. And now they're venturing off into like Raycon home products and power tech products. They offer easy free returns, free shipping, and buy now, pay later options. And now with Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals, you can get even more savings on the already very competitively priced products from Raycon. There's promotions going on across the entire site. You can get up to 50% off of select products, and you can also save even more with Raycon's limited time bundles. You can get their fitness audio kit, which is their fitness earbuds, as well as the headphones, or you can do the everyday, which is the everyday earbuds and the headphones, so you can save money that way. And these are Raycon's biggest holiday discounts ever, and they're only available for a very short limited time. So if you want to check them out, you need to check them out by November 27th, baby. So if you want to check out Raycon's biggest holiday sale ever, go to buyraycon.com/Kennie to get up to 50% off site-wide. Big thanks again to Raycon for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get on to the debauchery. Last week we talked about, what did we talk about? The Perfect Guy. It's another stalker movie, but particularly appealing to probably women in their 40s. I'm there mentally and emotionally. I was built to be the auntie. I really was. It has Michael Ealy, Sanaa Lathan, and Morris Chestnut. Oh, good God. I will say, since becoming a dog mom, I do feel like I'm becoming older every day. I start saying things like, golly, unironically. Maybe that's why my love for Morris Chestnut seems to be deepening as I get older. I say all that to say, if you would like to see that video, you can check it out up above, or you can check it out in the Bad Movies and a Beat playlist. And this week, first of all, we're doing a good movie. I think the last good movie I talked about was Talk to Me, yeah? And I was saying in that video that Talk to Me is one of my 2 favorite movies of this year that I've seen. And the other one was what we're gonna talk about today. If you haven't seen Talk to Me, I still highly recommend it. Side note, got 2 of the hands now, one that has no writing on it and one that has writing on it, and currently they're on my TV stand in a very menacing embrace. I feel like it would be really funny to put weed in it, but I don't smoke, so incense, I guess I'll put incense in it. Incidentally, speaking of incense, I also recently bought the Midsommar yellow shed incense burner. Camp. But Talk to Me is a pretty heavy movie, quite depressing, honestly. It's a horror movie, but I would say, I think I remember saying in that video, you know, it's more depressing than it is scary to me. It's just very heavy. And so the fact that that movie and the movie we're talking about today, I like equally, is really telling of my taste in movies. It's like either the most depressing thing you've ever seen or just campy garbage. So today we're talking about bottoms. 배고파? 배고프니? 배고프지. Okay, give me a second. Her other food has not defrosted yet because I forgot. So you're getting your version of Chef Boyardee, baby. Oh, it got peas in it. Ugh. So I first saw Bottoms at South by Southwest. They were showing the premiere of it there. So I saw it a few months before it came to theaters. And I absolutely loved it. I wasn't going to see it. Cole and Amanda the Jedi, shout outs to Amanda the Jedi, were there and they were like, you should see it. It's like, everybody's talking about how great it is. So, and I was so happy I did because I absolutely loved the movie because I had heard nothing about it. So I was really happy that I enjoyed it so much. It was so good. It's a movie that's definitely made in that kind of styling of early 2000s raunchy teenage comedies. It's not quite as raunchy as like an American Pie. I think it's more just weird and outrageous, closer to like a Superbad. It's a similar idea, arguably even more absurd. And when I say absurd, I mean like absurdist, like as a style. Also, it's sapphic. So it's able to have a very interesting perspective. It's also very darkly funny.
That belongs to the school.
Oh, cool. So does your vagina.
Nice try, PJ, but my vagina belongs to the government.
And you guys know that's kind of my jam. When we were talking about the menu, I had so many people be in the comments like, baby, you keep saying how funny it is, but I'm just scared. Bottoms stars Rachel Sennett. From Shiva Baby, which I never had time to watch. Bodies, 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 which I never had time to watch. She was also in The Idol, which unfortunately I have seen. One of my goals for the new year is figure out how to make time so that I can actually watch good things. I've seen nothing good. The amount of times people say, hey, have you seen this show that's very, very popular and everyone loves it? No, because I'm watching shit. Not begrudgingly. Again, I love shit. But, you know, sometimes I want to watch good stuff. As well as Ayo Adebri. I think I pronounced that right. I looked it up. I put the sounding out and watched. I still did it wrong. I love her. She's so funny. She's in The Bear, another good show that I haven't had time to watch. I've seen her in a lot of like interview clips and she's hilarious. And like stand-up clips. Hilarious. Both of them are incredibly funny, incredibly awkward, and that's really, you know, it speaks to me. As an incredibly awkward but hopefully funny person, I think this was meant to be something that I would find funny. But the movie follows a duo of friends, Josie and PJ. They are essentially the social pariahs of the school, not because they're gay, but because they're untalented, gay, and ugly.
Could the ugly, untalented gays please report to the principal's office?
Guess that's you guys.
So you can't be all three. Apparently, if you were gay and talented, you're cool. If you're gay and pretty, you're good. But, you know, to be all three is just a fate worse than death. As if that isn't hard enough, they're also still virgins, begrudgingly. And so in a good old early 2000s comedy trope, they're gonna go on a quest to lose their virginities. Unlike the other early 2000s quests for booty, they take a bit of an unconventional approach. They create a fight club, a woman's after school fight club. The idea is like the adrenaline or something, the wrestling will make girls want to f them. Sure. And yes, the movie is as dumb as it sounds. It also has the guy from who's been in a bunch of shit we've talked about on this channel at this point. Nicholas something. He's the prince in Woke Cinderella. He's in Red, White, and Royal Blue. Yay. And then he's also in Purple Hearts. Blech. And in this movie, it's another yay. Again, I liken him to like the whole several years on this series where we could not escape Noah Synthi. But I will say that he's more likely to be in a good movie than Noah ever was. I don't think I saw a singular movie that I liked with him in it. And much in the same way that it's kind of hard to talk about other good comedies in this series, this movie will probably be just me talking about how funny it is and you go watch it, because I don't know how much comedy I can really add to it because it's funny on its own. If you need it like a final push, like, oh, I should really watch that, I highly recommend you do. Hopefully this video will be that for you. It's a sapphic absurdist take on following like little gross teenage sleazeballs, and it's very, very funny. I highly recommend it. So without further ado, this is Bottoms 2023. So the movie starts off very quickly in a very like, but I'm a cheerleader or Mean Girls, like early 2000s, late 90s esque title cards. And so that really prepares you, I think, for something that feels like you're returning to another time, something like immediately nostalgia inducing. It's very cute. And very quickly, we are starting off with the early 2000s let's lose our virginity pep talk. Okay, PJ is the one spearheading this. She's like, this is our senior year. We gotta get hella coochie, man. We're seniors. We're developing. We're kinda hot now. We can't do this anymore. We have to get laid this year. It's abysmal. It's embarrassing. But between the two, certainly Josie is the one that's a bit more shy and apprehensive.
I'm playing the long game with her. I don't speak to the bitch for years.
I will say Josie was definitely giving me energy in high school. Like, there was no way in I was talking to my crushes. I did talk to one of my crushes, and then I realized he looked like a duck, but also I embarrassed myself horribly. So I don't know if that was just my defense mechanism, like make him ugly to me so that I don't have to acknowledge how I absolutely embarrassed the out of myself trying to talk to him. So they go to the fair. This is apparently something that their school does every year right before the school year or right in the beginning of the school year or something. And they made a note to go for the first time. This seems to be something that they have never been known to go to because, again, they're ready to socialize. They're ready to get laid. While there, they end up running into their crushes, Isabel and Brittany. Isabel is Josie's crush and Brittany is PJ's crush. But Isabel, however, is not single. She's actually currently dating, stereotypically, the head quarterback, Jeff. She's also a cheerleader. So, again, trope upon trope. Love it. But before either of them can really make their first attempts at trying to talk to their crushes, here comes Hazel. And Hazel is just a girl in their class. PJ seems to have a bit of immediate animosity towards her. She kind of finds her kind of annoying. But Hazel's nice. She's just maybe a little ditzy. But later we'll find that she's very, very compassionate, very sweet, a bit lonely for circumstances that we'll find out about later. Yeah, but she's cool people. Again, a little ditzy though. Hazel notices that Josie has a broken arm and jokingly says, "What happened? Did you go to juvie?" And they sarcastically respond, "Sure. Yeah." And again, because Hazel isn't the sharpest nail in the tool shed, she's like, "You went to juvie?" The fuck? They do end up eventually getting the opportunity to talk to their crushes.
You look like a little Dutch boy.
Thank you.
And PJ, in an effort to hit on Brittany, accidentally falls into an incredibly awkward conversation of EDs, not the penis one, the other one. So trigger warning for that. I was gonna skip even bringing this up at all, but I just find this particular part so funny where Josie is like, you're skinny too. I break you in two like a pretz.
Isabel, Josie was just saying something similar to me.
I don't think so.
I think so. It was really good.
You're just you're skinny too as well. Yeah, you're skinny. You're a real skinny Minnie, aren't you? Uh-oh, call the doctor. Skinny girl, I see.
And so that went, well. And in good old anxious fashion, Josie starts to spiral. She's like, "Oh my God, I will never find anyone that will ever want to be with me ever. I'm going to be a virgin in college, and well after college, I'll be forced to be in a closeted heterosexual relationship with a gay deacon."
By the way, our son Hezekiah hates us because he knows we're both closeted. We try to make it work for him, but he's not happy. Please, will you come and visit us on Sunday?
But just when things theoretically couldn't get worse, it seems that there is a little bit of there's some sun over the horizon, because out comes Isabel, seemingly in the middle of an argument with Jeff because he keeps like flirting and looking at other women, which is a reoccurring thing with him, as we will see throughout the movie. But PJ is like, "Ask her if she wants a safety ride. Ask her if she wants a safety ride." So eventually they do that. She gets in the back seat. Jeff gets belligerent. Because he won't move and he's getting belligerent, they decide, okay, we're gonna drive forward if you don't get out of the way. Barely touching his knees.
Oh my God!
They have committed the #1 high school movie cardinal sin, wounding the star football player.
They're not gonna get away with it!
And in this movie, it's a particular abject sin to do so. They are currently within a decades-long rivalry with another high school named Huntington. And ceremoniously, they do a incredibly violent football game with them once a year or once every 4 years or something. They speak of it as like this very like Coliseum-esque thing. Like you're going to be thrown into the lions against Huntington and you've taken away our only vessel. But weirdly enough, when everyone finds out that they took out star player Jeff, they're kind of impressed by it, you know? And that seems to be because Hazel had gone around telling everybody that they were in juvie. It makes them seem, you know, oddly menacing, kind of hot even. Hot enough that their crushes may even want to entertain talking to them.
I heard you guys ate literal shit and killed girls in juvie.
Really? What did you think about that?
But as you'd imagine, it also puts them on Jeff's radar. He's not a fan. Over the announcements, they end up hearing about how one of the students was attacked by a Huntington player on their way back home. They had been like assaulted, like beaten up. And apparently this is a thing that is also kind of ritualistic about their rivalry. Huntington will get violent towards their students. Again, this movie is not supposed to be entirely understood as like realistic. Don't take it too seriously. It's supposed to exist in a world that doesn't entirely make sense. So that's why no one gets arrested for that, apparently, even though it happens every year. They will beat up a player, they will kill a player. And so again, taking out our star player is like literally a fate worse than death. People may die. PJ and Josie end up getting called into the principal's office because, again, it goes around that they had something to do with Jeff getting hurt. And the excuse they end up using is that he accidentally got hurt when they were participating in a self-defense class for those that are trying to not get killed by Huntington, essentially. And the principal is, for all intents and purposes, satisfied with that answer. He's like, well, stay in your lane, don't get in the way. Again, this game is a very big deal. Now that this has kind of been set in motion as a theory of something they can do, PJ is like, wait a minute, what if we made an actual self-defense club, like a fight club? Because it already seems that people are more interested in us because they think we're menacing, they think we're dangerous. Maybe we could like use the Huntington thing as like a way to get people to believe us as like authorities in fighting. Again, everyone thinks we went to juvie even though we didn't. And Hazel's like, wait, you didn't go to juvie? No, we didn't go to juvie. Well, you said you went to juvie. I just didn't correct you. We didn't go to juvie. But again, more importantly, ass. We can get some ass. You know, we're working together, we're sweating, adrenaline's running. And Hazel's like, you know what? I have been kind of wanting to feel like more of a community here at school. It would be nice to have some like female solidarity.
Not the point. I mean, we just felt like there's a serious lack of female solidarity at this school.
So excited to make this thing where a bunch of hot girls come, only to find that only ugly people, ugly quote unquote, people come. And she's pissed. She thought this was a foolproof way to get a bunch of hot chicks to fall in her lap, but alas. But despite their audience not being quite who they were targeting, they still rile everybody up to believe that they are these like these aficionados, these bad girls, barely survived the juvie system and lived to talk about it.
Once a girl tried to kill me with rat poison, so I took her outside and I punched her till she died.
So you killed a girl?
No. The ambulance came and revived her, and we actually had a really productive conversation.
And after that, it's time to have the first punch of the night, which PJ takes from Josie and swiftly breaks her nose. And this is when they start to say, maybe we should get a teacher to advise this so it sounds more legitimate. Otherwise, we're going to get suspended for beating the shit out of each other. They're like, what f***ing teacher are we going to find that's stupid enough to let us have a fight club after school? Miss G. He reminds me so much of my senior year gym teacher. On God, he was a convict. My gym teacher, I don't know about this guy. Now, Mr. G, hilarious. He's definitely one of those teachers that would exist in real life and should not be teachers. Seems to teach their history class, even though he seems to be dressed for gym. He's also recently divorced. So that, you know, that creates some interesting commentary on life.
I want to be with you for the rest of our life. All of a sudden, you leave me for a motherfucker named Tony.
And so they're like, we should go to Mr. G. But before they do that, Josie's kind of like, are you sure we should be doing this? I broke your nose. And PJ's like, it's fine. I've never gotten so much attention from girls in my life. We're not stopping this. This is great. And this is working. Isabel now knows your name. We're not stopping this. Let's talk to Mr. G. With that said, Isabel has gotten back with Jeff. This is their pattern. He undoubtedly cheats on her or attempts to cheat on her. And she's like, oh, I'll take you back. I'm so glad I didn't date in high school. Ugh. They think that this is a good idea. They might be able to get closer to her despite her being back with Jeff. So they go up to Mr. G and they basically try to get him to sign off on the club, but also make it sound incredibly unappealing so he won't come.
Sometimes when you have a new hobby, don't show up. Great way to be an ally. That's my favorite way to be an ally. You just say you're doing something and then you don't do any of those things.
So they do end up convincing him to sign off, but unfortunately they can't stop him from coming to the club, which is very annoying. Regardless, they're ready to get things started. And it would seem very early that PJ is going on a bit of a power trip. You can tell from her personality already that she's the loud one and the annoying one that has all the schemes and everything. Regardless, it would seem that their shenanigans does work in the sense that Isabel and Brittany do end up coming to the club. Thus begins this loosely organized, incredibly campy, and incredibly dangerous mishmash of somehow everyone becoming like super emotionally and mentally invested in this fight club. Genuinely does start to build some solidarity. Somebody tell Amanda to chill out. Hey, girl. Like, no technique is involved. But in a weird way, this does end up bringing everyone together. Again, camaraderie, there's sexual tension, it would seem. So certainly PJ's little scheme seems to be working to some degree. And because of this, such a large group of girls end up becoming friends with them that they actually end up getting kind of popular for the first time ever. And Hazel is like, let's actually spend time to get to know these girls. Like, we spent a lot of time just fighting and we've built somewhat of a friendship. Let's actually get to know them instead of just worrying about how close you guys are to smashing. And PJ is like, oh my God, that's brilliant. I'll get even closer to smashing. But before they can really relish in their success, there's one person at school that seems to be keeping an eye on them out of suspicion. And that is Tim. Tim is Jeff's resident dick sucker. Basically his henchman, someone who's always there to make sure that he's okay, cartoonishly loyal, but he doesn't do anything for a while, so they're in the clear for now. So they decide to have that meeting, the emotional getting to know each other session, during which Josie, for some reason, I don't know why, I don't think it really matters. I think she was just riding on the concept of like getting Isabel's attention, but she goes into a very traumatic and incredibly detailed story about her time at juvie, which she never went to.
People were betting on us and we were given like shivs and rusty pocket knives. And I still hear their screams at night. And that guilt probably will like always shackle me forever.
In order to get sympathy, presumably from Isabel. Considering two other people in this room, Hazel and PJ, know that they didn't go to juvie, it is a bit crazy to do this, but she's too far gone, I guess. But it does work in the sense that it makes Isabel want to comfort her. And Isabel ends up inviting her to study together. So one foot in the door, I guess. Which is great timing that she could possibly move on, considering this is when Hazel ends up discovering... She's fresh out of a divorce, which is kind of her excuse for why she starts fucking an 18-year-old that goes to the same school as her daughter. So though it is technically legal, not everything legal is right. Disgusting. Anyway, meanwhile, Tim is doing his own research on the club, primarily looking into whether or not PJ and Josie actually went to juvie. Apparently he has some men on the inside somehow. They're saying their information is nowhere to be found in the juvie system. Josie and Isabel end up hanging out, and it's pretty clear that there's some chemistry between them. That is to be contrasted with PJ, who seems to just want to fuck anybody, but particularly her sights are on Brittany. But these two seem to like really like each other. Josie is considering whether or not she wants to be honest with Isabel and tell her that they lied about everything. But instead of doing that, she instead tells that she found out that Jeff is having sex with Hazel's mom. And she reacts to that as well, again, as you'd imagine.
Constantly having sex with each other, which is pretty up.
So at school the next day, she goes up to Jeff and she confronts him. She's like, are you sleeping with Hazel's mom? And Jeff is like, I didn't cheat on you again after the like 6th time. But that's it. She's over. She's done. She's ready to get her revenge. Maybe we should TP his house. Maybe we should egg his house. And Hazel, ever the innovator, is like, we should bomb his car. There's definitely a low-hanging Diddy joke in there, but it's too easy. And so off they go to do a nighttime girls trip to go do terrorism. They do start off light, again, with TPing and egging, but it does, you know, swiftly progress into explosives. So as Hazel is getting the bomb figured out, Josie and Isabel are keeping watch. And this is, again, another situation in which they get a little bit closer. And Josie is like, you deserve someone who really cares about you. But despite them getting closer, they get interrupted by the most inconspicuous crime ever done. Back to school, and Tim has his eyes on them again, and there seems to be some word about them committing a terrorism, and he threatens to end their club. Maybe we should end the club, you know, we've had a great time. We're happy that we met these friends. You know, we've had a great time. But because PJ can't let it go because she hasn't achieved her goal yet, she's like, no. And she starts to do her whole power trip thing that she does. This ends up boiling into an argument with Hazel and makes Hazel like storm out because PJ was really shitty, honestly. And just like the vulture he is, there's Tim to go be a listening ear to Hazel when she runs off from the club. With that said, not all hope is lost because Brittany and PJ do end up hanging out after the club. So maybe she will get her chance after all. And incidentally, so do Josie and Isabel end up hanging out. And they are very cute. They seem to have quite the little vibe. And they have a genuine connection. And you know, things happen. And they hook up. And then like on the other side of the spectrum, we have PJ who's like flirting with Brittany and then leans in to kiss her. And then Brittany's like, I'm straight, girl. Straight as a bendy straw, but okay, that's for her to figure out. That's not our place. I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have assumed, but things, as you can imagine, get quite awkward after that. So the next day is the school pep rally, and both of them go in with very different moods, as you can imagine. PJ is kind of bummed out. Josie is on cloud 9 because she got to be with the girl she has a crush on. And there's this air of PJ being kind of jealous, but you know, we don't have time for that. Pep rally. At the rally, Tim decides to bring Hazel out to do a demonstration of the things that they learned in their boxing defense club or whatever. And he lies to her saying that she'll be fighting PJ when in actuality she will be fighting a boxer at their school. Because again, we got to see how that self-defense is working for you. It goes about as well as you'd imagine, especially considering they didn't learn shit in that club. They did, again, no technique, no nothing. But she does put up a good fight though. She gets her ass kicked. It's a lot more brutal than I think you'd be expecting because like, oh shit. Tim is like, do you know why she lost the fight? Their club that they did was not a real club. It wasn't to empower women. They didn't go to juvie. It was just there so they can fuck cheerleaders. As you can imagine, this rocks everybody. Like, oh my God, what about feminism?
I thought this club was for sisterhood. If it was for your own selfish interest, this is the second wave all over again.
This also ends up breaking up PJ and Josie because they're fighting over it because PJ sucks, honestly. I mean, Josie was lying too, but like PJ obviously spearheaded this foolishness. Anyway, Isabel and Jeff get back together. He apologizes after cheating on her the 12th time, I guess, or whatever. I don't know. And after that, it would seem that all the girls from the club are still friends except for Josie and PJ. They just kick them out, which honestly, I get it. Josie ends up visiting her old babysitter, Rhodes. And Rhodes is actually how Josie and PJ met. They were both being babysat by Rhodes. And being that they were both two little gay kids, they used Rhodes as like gay Yoda is the words they just like to show them a way of lesbianism. She's there to issue guidance and reassurance, even though she's not a huge fan of the concept of being called gay Yoda. Josie goes there asking her for advice about PJ, and she's comedically bad at that. So Josie's like, I'll just talk to her at the game. And Rhodes is like, you know that there's a big history about Huntington players. They always kill at least one player.
In 77, they burned him at a stake with his dog. And in 03, they pulled his body apart with horses. It's called quartering.
And so this sparks a new issue. We have to stop Huntington from killing somebody. So she runs over to PJ and she's like, we have to stop the murder that's gonna happen. We gotta squad up, bring all the girls back together again because we have, you know, ceremoniously humiliated them. Let's prove that they have what it takes. We've learned something. Let's get back their sense of honor. Let's get down to business. And so they go down to the game trying to get everybody to get back together. You always like to do bombs. You want to do a bomb again, Hazel? So they try that. Bomb does not work. So it would seem they have to do plan B. Distraction. Hazel and PJ making out. Meanwhile, Josie discovers that there's a bunch of empty barrels of pineapple juice for some reason. And it's because Jeff is allergic to pineapples. So they're gonna try to kill Jeff specifically. Just then, one of the girls notices that the sprinklers are coming on and they put together that they're gonna sprinkle pineapple juice on the field. So they run over to stop the sprinkler, and thus commences this epic slow motion battle against Huntington. Truly confusing thing to behold. Completely asinine camp foolishness. I loved every second of it. Don't sit here and try to make sense out of it. Just enjoy the ride. And they f them up in front of a very confused but into it audience just as the pineapple juice goes off and they're able to save Jeff. And effectively the girls have regained their honor. They've saved the day. Josie makes up with Isabel. She also makes up with PJ. And again, despite all the dead bodies on the field, the day was a success. And that's basically that's the end of the movie. Bottoms. A completely weird, completely surreal, wild viewing experience. I loved it. If you also love camp foolishness, I think you'd really enjoy this movie. And that's all for non-Christmas movies of the year. Oh my God, it's almost December. This year went by so quick. Oh my God. If you have any terrible movies you think I should watch, put them down below for Christmas, for the holidays. And that's all for today, folks. If you like today's video, feel free to like today's video. Follow me on all my social media, Instagram and Twitter, both of which are KennieJD. And I will see you guys next time.